well, without real money backing a currency, how you can devalue the currency. And von Mises said about the crack-up boom, we are in the crack-up boom, but it accelerates when, well, it accelerates and overnight almost the whole system implodes. Tuesday, June 9th, 2026. Today, we're going to look at a very long-term chart. We're going to put things into perspective for the dollar, gold, and all other fiat currencies for that matter. I think there's too much worry about what the price of gold is doing in terms of fiat. Yes, it has come down in the last few months, but I think this exercise we're going to do today is really going to help you put things into perspective, as I said. And I mean, all fiat currencies are virtually worthless now versus gold. And I'll try to explain to you why. I think the only reason they still have some faith and confidence is because of military might, the power of force, right, that governments have. And I think the most important government here that we need to look at is the United States. I think is the only thing that's keeping the dollar going internationally and domestically is the fact that America has a very strong military. It's a little bit the talk about what came first, the chicken or the egg. Some people argue that America's military will make sure, the might of America's military will make sure that the dollar is still the major reserve currency. But if we look back at the old Soviet Union, they had a mighty military, had a mighty military, and yet the whole empire collapsed. It didn't help the ruble. So I think that's the only thing left. And I think this conflict in the Middle East with Iran, Israel, the US, could be what breaks the camel's back. And yeah, that would totally destroy the credibility of the dollar, the faith and confidence. It would also destroy the faith and confidence of all other fiat currency because they're all derivatives of the fiat dollar. And I've spoken about that many times before under my Bretton Woods system playlist. Yes, they're all derivatives of the dollar. 1944, that's when the system started. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to look at this chart here. And yeah, I've spoken about this chart before. And basically, it's on TradingView. It's the price of gold. But I had it divided, I did 1 divided by the price of gold, and you get the reverse. And it says here that it's worth 0.00 right now. But if you do the proper calculation, if you take 1 divided by 4,345, that's where the price of gold was the last time I checked. It might have come off or gone up after I post this and you watch it, but it was around 7:30 a.m. London time. So you take 1 divided by 4,345, $1, right, divided by the price of the ounce, you get 0.0023. That's why this chart looks like it's 0, but it is virtually worth 0. Even if you do it in terms of percentage, well, $1 is 0.023% of a troy ounce. And if you look back, I mean, we always go back to August 15th, 1971, because it was the day that will forever live in infamy in terms of the history of money, because President Nixon, and you can argue it was his advisors who told him, the City of London, the speculators, but be as it may, he was the only one that really had the power to, rip apart the mechanism of the Bretton Woods system. He said at the time that he was going to suspend the convertibility of the dollar into gold temporarily. And yes, I saw that interview that Judy Shelton, who I've had on the channel, had with Gold Telegraph. And she spoke to Paul Volcker, who was actually in the Treasury at that time. He was Under Secretary of the Treasury for International Affairs, I think. And he always thought, Paul Volcker, that the U.S. would go back to the old Bretton Woods system where the dollar would be fixed to an amount of gold. And he thought they're going to go back at 38 or 42.22 or whatever rate. But the U.S. never did. The temporary is still, yeah, they still have suspended it temporarily. So you can see how without real money backing a currency, how you can devalue the currency. And what I'm trying to say here is, yes, we've had ups and downs. We've had times when the fiat dollar, like from the early 80s until the beginning of this century, the fiat dollar actually appreciated, but the long-term trend is down. And you can see here what we're doing right now. This is a quarterly chart. It's just a little blip. It's like it's not even a bounce. There is the old term of the dead cat bounce, but I would say this is not even a dead cat bounce. So we need to stay the course, or, well, at least I'm staying the course. So if, like me, you believe that gold and silver are the place to be, or you're thinking about getting involved in gold and silver to jump out of this dying fiat currency system, think about using my affiliates, precious metals dealers affiliates. In the US, it's Miles Franklin. I've been dealing with Andy Scheckman and Miles Franklin for years. And in the UK, it's Gold Investments. I've been dealing with Oliver and Simon Temple as well for years. The details are below in the description of this video. And I think what Morgan Stanley did last year, changing the allocation for the model portfolio from 60-40, 60 stocks, 40 bonds, to 60, 20, 20, and the new 20 being gold, and I guess commodities in general. Yeah, that's going to be the norm going forward. I think a lot of the smart money, a lot of the very wealthy family offices, they're changing this. I think it's only the general public that are still being told that you need 60-40 for the pension funds. I think it's a big mistake. I would personally be almost 100% gold and silver right now, looking at this chart. And that's why you need physical gold and silver. Yeah, you need it outside the system, and you need it before the faith and confidence is lost. It's what von Mises said about the crack-up boom. We are in the crack-up boom, but it accelerates when, well, it accelerates, and overnight almost the whole system implodes. And in Germany, it happened from like the summer of 1922 to the autumn of 1923. It was very fast. In our day and age, you could argue it could take longer, but you could also argue with telecommunications and technology, people could react much quicker, and it could be a matter of days or weeks. So that's why I keep warning people. And yeah, it's like a broken record, but things haven't changed unless we go back on a system where the dollar or the currencies are not detached from reality, where they're fixed to, yeah, they're based on a fixed weight of gold and silver. And in terms of where we're now, it would have to be at a much higher price, or the whole system would have to be reset but and you can do it at a lower price, but it would wipe out many people. But even if you do it at a higher price, it will wipe out the purchasing power of many people, unless you have physical gold and silver outside the system. And yes, there's a lot of speculation of gold revaluation, like they did back in 1972 and 1973. But that will just be a temporary reprieve for the U.S. Treasury, because if you look at that chart, the dollar kept sinking after they did that revaluation. And unless they go back to sound money and basically end the fiat currency system, we're going to keep dropping. And yet we're very near the point, I think, where the faith and confidence will be lost. So to give you an example, the statutory value of the US dollar, well, it was first set in 1792, and we're looking at it versus gold. It was also set versus silver. I think it was 371.25 grains of silver per $1, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, to gold, the dollar was $19.39 per troy ounce. That was the original definition under the Coinage Act of 1792. And then it took about 42 years. In 1834, they had to devalue the dollar. So they revalued gold to $20.67 per troy ounce. And I think they did that because there's a problem with the gold and the silver ratio. It was a way to increase the gold-silver ratio. And then for 100 years, that's what is amazing, from 1834 to 1934, January 30th, I think, when Roosevelt signed the Gold Reserve Act, the dollar was fixed to that level. So one troy ounce was $20.67 for 100 years. And that dispels the notion that having sound money, fixed weight of gold, is not good for the economy, that there's not enough gold. But the ratio of the ounce of gold for goods and services and investments and products, that changes. There's always enough gold because gold is money. And that's what I'm trying to say here. It was it was a century where America actually expanded, went from being an agrarian society to becoming an industrial powerhouse by 1934, and gold was fixed. And then it started, it didn't start to go downhill, because from 1934, when it was revalued, gold was revalued, or the dollar was devalued to $35 per troy ounce. Up until 1971, we stayed at that rate. People realized that it was normal. It was something that was, it's something monetarily that's just like the sun comes up every day and the sun sets. That's the same thing. Money is a weight of gold or silver, and the currency is just a reflection of that.